Hello, Buddha the Basin here. Man, it's a rough one. Monday, 421. Sun moves into Taurus, Uranus in Taurus. Um, just put everybody else still in Aries. Still got that fire energy from Aries. And what do we see? We see oil refineries on fire. What do we conclude? Well, we have to conclude that the United States, NATO, this mystery Babylon system of billionaires, the Epstein class, is trying to create a calamity, the conditions for a food crisis, sort of a fuel based energy crisis, energy shutdown, something like the pandemic 2.0. Depopulation is sadly what I fear to be at the root of it. Depopulation and gaining control of the population, the Catherine Austin Fitts Mr. Global model, the central bank digital currency, the Whitney Webb model, that this is not just strategic ambiguity on Trump's part. We're not losing to Iran. We're not going to defeat Iran. We're defeating the world's supply of energy. We're defeating the people's right to exist. We're at war with the growing population of humans who just want to live free on the planet Earth. That's why we're attacking energy. Okay, that's why we're making sure there are fertilizer shortages. When you look at Venezuela, the effort to stop all oil refining, refining in Venezuela. When you look at Iran, this is not my observation. Daniel Davis deep dive, Judge Napolitano, Glenn Deason, all Nima, all these individuals have had guests on the past few days that are suggesting it's a strategic plan the United States, and if you want to call it the West, although it seems like Europe is being pulled by this rather than steering the ship. It's unclear ultimately who is steering the ship, and it's very frustrating for that reason because you don't see a clear victor. United States, how do we win when we can't afford to buy gas, put gas in our cars? How does the world win when they can't even grow food because there's no fertilizer? Meanwhile, you have Trump signing executive orders protecting glyphosate, which is the opposite of a fertilizer. Glyphosate, which was a pipe cleaner, which strips the soil of all its positive minerals and microbes and just ruins us when we're getting more vaccinations and less good food. Although Mr. Hegseth did come out today and say the flu vaccine, you don't need it. I fear that's just to get more people to join the military. We need soldiers at least for this bluff. We're not going to militarily, physically invade Iran, but we do want to restrict fuel. We're strangling BRICS, which makes me think Brazil will have to be targeted in some kind of way since Indian oil refineries and Russian oil refineries and Russian oil and gas export stations have been bombed and droned, as well as refineries in Texas. So this is a industrial sabotage that seems very coordinated and not at all coincidental. It's like a pandemic 9/11 2.0. It's all rigged. It's all an inside job by the billionaire class. At least we're all awake. We now understand it's us versus them. It's these billionaire technocrats who know that we don't want what they're selling. We don't want the data centers. We don't want the graphene oxide internal biological sensor system that will zap us back into compliance or zap away our account or turn off our car or our lights when we're out of compliance in the future smart city grid, the future Gaza 2.0. Once Israel destroys of all Gaza, when we rebuild it, it will be a smart grid. That's the future cities, these smart cities, with 6G stations, in everybody's neighborhoods as ubiquitous as stop signs, because the 6G is like laser terahertz frequencies, but anything can interfere with them. They must be positioned very close to have this Internet of Things, this Internet of Bodies that they're trying to create. And of course, all that is terribly unpopular. So you have to smash Islam into Judaism, into Christianity, turn the Pope against the president, all because it's supposed to invalidate our whole current status quo and make us want some technological utopia, where this can't happen, where the AI stops everybody from committing acts of genocide, I guess, or the Board of Peace, or what have you. But to be sure, these talks in Islamabad are designed to fail. It just becomes clear the effort is to control the energy. The United States, Patrick Henningsen this today on Nima's show just talked going back to 2022 and when Biden threatened blowing up the Nord Stream, and then the Nord Stream was blown up, cutting off the fuel from Russia to Europe. So strategically, not letting Europe provide that gas and oil to, not letting Russia provide that gas and oil to Europe forces Europe to buy it from the United States. And right now, not letting Iran sell the oil and gas to Asia, that will bring everybody to the United States where they can pay, above market price. And of course, the United States will have to retool its natural gas industry and I guess beef up its oil refining and production and exporting to keep up with this increased demand. And perhaps Canada and Mexico all unite with the United States to form North American Union, and the Amero currency perhaps comes to rescue the dollar at the end of this. Maybe that's the plan, to finally get a North American Union after we've had the European Union for so long, and this Asian Union that none of this really got off the ground. But maybe now the Illuminati, if you will, is trying to get all this off the ground. I can recall Vicente Fox and George W. Bush. The Amera we used to discuss this back in '05 and '06 before Obama and before Trump. So it's only been 20 years. Maybe now we see the resurgence, the reemergence of the Amera, which again, I'm not against all this. A North American Union with travel unrestricted from the United States to Canada and Mexico, that's be a wonderful thing. One one set of constitutional values for all three countries, an ID, if you will, one ID you can use. But I fear it's more going to be a digital surveillance system that tracks us and surveils us, and facial recognition cameras everywhere, and internal sensors, and everything listening. I mean, internally knowing our brain waves and just about reading our thoughts with the graphene and the graphene oxide biosensors and the patent 060606, um, ubiquitous surveillance. The world is waking up, and Islam, Buddhism, and Christianity, I think, can unite with Hasidic Judaism and the Kabbalah into a reasonable, practical philosophy that involves reincarnation and the descending of what you might call the Shekinah glory and the Kundalini awakening, but all with physics, you know, and not so much color science, but something like color science, light healing, sonic healing, the idea that there are infrared frequencies and ultraviolet frequencies that can help correct cellular issues, as well as 528 hertz, and you know um, a return to common sense. I think after we finish this 20-year struggle, which it looks like we're going to be in now, that's the Douglas vote date. 2046 is when he claimed there'd be a pole shift. Mr. Casey, Edgar Casey, said 2038 things would begin to pick up. That's just 12 years of a geopolitical struggle from which you'll see Islam, the real Islam, and Buddhism and Christianity all, you know, uniting peoples of faith in a practical science. That's what I'm all about, grounding the energy, understanding the physics of it in terms of the electrons, the positrons, and plasma. Okay, understanding how plasma is the fourth state of matter, in that we're producing a plasma cloud, a energetic field, just like the sun does. And my plasma field extends out 5 to 7 feet and can go as far as 55 feet if I'm really cooking it, so to speak. And the breathing techniques that put you into a meditative place really just involve conscious breathing and an awareness of the pelvic basin, the place where the coccyx bone, where you stack the sacrum on top of the coccyx, where the that junction of the sacrum and the coccyx for your spinal alignment. That's incredibly important. Getting that place between the first and second chakras into an alignment. You kind of have to lift the tailbone ever so slightly to get it to sit just right. Slight elevation, which kind of prepares you for the first yoga lock, which is kind of a tucking in of the tailbone. Then you naturally bring the navel back to the spine and sort of tuck in the chin to the chest. And you've got the three bandhas of yoga, and you can then begin to feel the cerebral spinal fluid coming up to the third ventricle of the brain, and then going right back down, providing this ionic nourishment to the brain and allowing the piezoelectric and piezochromatic properties of the pineal gland to be utilized for communication, internal communication, and to generate positive feelings and to really get an update of what's going on, to get the heart and the mind truly in sync with the pelvic floor and your feet. That's what I'm all about with the Buddha, the basin, and getting that chi energy into your hands where you can actually feel you've got the proper circulation. And with that, you have this plasma going more or less around the body. It's the easiest way to think of it. This um, sort of moving up the right side and up the sort of right arm, the shoulder, and then back over the head and then down the left, the inside the left arm, down the outside the left leg is the sort of the chi flow. And that's the grounding of this circuit of your own electromagnetic field, which is just like the Earth's field. The Schumann resonance, it comes up from the Earth through your own sort of Sushumna, through this little pocket of energy, this balancing, this hara line that moves to the center of your being, which utilizes the standing wave of gravity to sort of superimpose this sine wave, which is what your breathing and what your sacrocranial pump is actually based on. It's your engagement with the root chakra of the earth is one way of saying it, but your own root chakra being connected from your feet down to the core of the planet, and really getting that connection with the earth as a living conscious entity. Once that can be sort of updated into your heart, that's really what you need to start creating positive energy. And most people don't teach that. They talk about connecting to God. But really, God is a figment of your imagination for the most part. What's real is the Earth's magnetic field and the Earth's core, which is generating this magnetic field. And your heart generates a suitably large field of your own. And tuning your heart to the Earth and begin to properly circulate this plasma like a Birkeland current, not allowing the field to become stagnant, but keeping your own Merkaba field turning with the counter-rotating, counterclockwise and clockwise rotations. That's what's very important in life, is being able to be in an alpha state in sync with the biosphere, and to be able to sink down further into that theta wave where you can really become receptive and let everything go. And then you can, move quickly into that gamma, that quick answer space. That's how the brain is supposed to function. Like you're making a left turn, you have to slow down to almost a complete stop and then shoot the gap. That's kind of going from the theta to the gamma. But what it requires is this baseline of alpha, which has been about 8 hertz cycles per second. I mean, that's really the state of mind that you begin most good positive endeavors from. Like I said, the challenge is to internalize and ground all this negative energy, this negative information, but this information that is truthful. There is an effort to starve the population. There's an effort to use war to stifle the world's energy demands. to bring us into a controlled recession, a Great Depression on the worldwide level. And all we can do is resist depression on the internal level and remain joyful because it's not real. The earth is going through a transition. Abundance is the real state of mind, to be rich in spirit. Okay, that's what Jesus really said. He never said, blessed are the poor in spirit. He did say, blessed are the peacemakers, but his real words were, blessed are the rich in spirit. Being poor in spirit is what you absolutely cannot be. You must be rich in spirit to counter this artificial scarcity. And that's really where I have to leave it, this idea of being rich in spirit. Om Shanti Om.